Alright, this is yet another new feature that I just added to phase 3 of my style library. So this is meant to combine a bunch of new capabilities to show just what is possible. So we're combining the blade builder with the multi-phase for special abilities with some new special abilities to create brand new effects. So let me demo this real quick and then we'll go through kind of more of an explanation. And I'm going to do a separate, at the end of this video, I'm going to add how this gets built in the library, and that'll really show you the potential because this is only like the tip of the iceberg. So what I've done is I've set up special ability 2 through 4 to be specific phases, but these are now timed phase changes, so I'm calling them a phase boost effect. So we've had kind of force boost, which was kind of like our way of jerry-rigging this into the system. But now we can actually do these boost effects where they have their own unique visual effects and sound effects using the alt font capability to really create a kind of a change or a boost or a power up to your saber. Now this one I specifically chose elements because I have sounds that line up to them nicely, so it makes it easier to show. So I've set up special ability 2. Is going to take my basic gold blade here and it's going to make it a water blade, but it's going to be a temporary effect. It's also going to have its own unique animation to introduce that phase, and that'll be easier to explain in the library, but you'll see a different kind of transition animation, and then this will turn into a water blade when I do special ability 2. So it's a visual and a sound effect change because it's going to use the phase change, but it's also using alt font. So there was a flash animation, and then I have a water blade, and I can actually pick how long this is active. So this is meant to be a boost, but it's using a phase and an alt font for a temporary point of time, and then it will revert itself back to your basic animation. So it's almost meant to be a power-up, like in the video games where you used to, build up a certain amount of energy and then release it, or, almost like a changing, like an avatar or whatever, using a different element as your kind of power. So this allows for us to do a visual effect and a different font to run through it, but instead of it being a change that we have to manually do each time, this is a timed effect. So there's also a lot more options coming for the phase boost effects. The initial release will be the timed ones, but I do have some other options I'm working on. But let me show the other blades. So I set up special ability 3 is going to be a fire blade, but this one's going to have a red effect. So almost like a strike of red is going to come from the top down, and then it's going to ignite the fire blade. And that's the other piece of this, is each of these special abilities can have their own unique transitions for how you implement them, which is a unique way of introducing the change to the blade, again, for this timed effect. Oops, I didn't turn it off. So that had an initial red strike down, but then it has a gradient flame blade, and again, it's changing the sound, and it's only temporary, and then it will revert itself back. And there is, using the alt change, you do get a sound effect when it changes back both directions. And then the last version is going to be a wind blade. I made it to be like a tornado, and this one's going to have a blue burst out of the middle as it's transitioned, so another unique transition. But then it's going to be a temporary effect of a kind of a tornado blade with a wind-like sound effect. And that's under special ability 4. So this has the wind coming out of the center. And again, it's set, and you pick the time, so you can have these boosts last for as long or as short as you want, but they're going to always change both the visual and the sound effects. So instead of the old way, we used to have like a force sound that we'd run for a force boost, and you can only have one force boost. With the new phase boosts, we can have, technically you can have multiple, you can have up to 10. Control-wise, you just set them up. So say we wanted to build 10, we could actually, it's kind of what I did in the special ability 1, is I set it so special ability 1, which I skipped so far, actually runs through them sequentially, whereas 2, 3, and 4 were specific. So 2 always does water, 3 always does fire, and 4 always does wind. If I wanted to run through them, or if I had more than, in this case, the 3 additional phases, you would use special ability 1 to run through them. And this has its own unique animation for transition. So this will just be a flash power on the initial change, but I can jump through them quickly. So that's the water, but then if I do it again, it's going to go to fire, and if I do it again, oops, I held the button too long. So that's fire, and I'll let it go back, so I'll try not to hold the button down. So on this one, I'll do it. So water, because I did it once, fire if I do it twice, and then wind if I do it the third. And then wind. And then this way, if you had more phases, you would use that kind of ability to jump through them. And again, they're timed effects, so it'll only run for the time I set. And then it will revert itself back to the base. So instead of just a normal phase change by applying the phase boost effect, you actually take a phase that you built with its alt font, but you use them as their own unique effect, as their own power-up, as their own boost effect. And you can do so many more, and the styles is pretty much unlimited in terms of what you want to do. And actually, I'll show that more in the demo of the library. But so this is brand new. I just added this. So if you were in phase 3 earlier this week, this just launched. So this is a brand new. It's listed under special abilities, but this works in coordination with the multi-phase blade builder. So you got to build a multi-phase blade in the builder, set it for special abilities, and then under special abilities you can choose the phase boost effect. There's 2 options right now. There's more coming. But let me demo that on the library because there's so many more options tied to this. It's impossible for me to show you all on the Saber. It's easier to show on the library. So stick around. I'm going to have the video of how to build this, and it'll show you how many options there are. And there's even more coming, but there's already so many. I don't think it's going to take forever for somebody to try them all out. But there's a lot coming, so hope you enjoy.
All right, so this is another demo of a new feature in Phase 3. This is actually just releasing, so I just added this. I have a bunch more, so there'll be a rollout kind of a new features just because I had so many, and some of them weren't quite ready for launch last week, so I'm going to, as I finish them, put them together. There's also a lot more in the library than I've been able to do videos for, so those of you who are in Phase 3, definitely continue to kind of look around and explore. I've added so many new features that I just haven't had a chance to demo yet. My hope is, as my schedule frees up, to do more of these type of videos to really show what's in the library, because I feel like a lot of times the videos I release, people look for those features, but they don't always go back in and kind of look around at what else is there. And there's when I add new features, particularly this Phase 3, I've added thousands of new features. The time it took to build them obviously took a long time. To try to demo every single option, I'd be shooting videos instead of updating the library. So not everything in the library has a video just yet. I don't know if that'll ever be the case. I don't know if there's enough hours in the day for me to catch up with what is already in there. That being said, this is tied to a brand new phase boost effect that I just added. I wanted to show the demo style. I've done a video on the demo of it, but I want to show how it gets built. And also, this will kind of let me show you all the capabilities, all the options that are there, so you can really customize and build out what you want. This is the new feature for the phase boost effect is built off of multi-phase. So you're gonna build a multi-phase blade for special abilities, but now instead of it just being a phase change, which is kind of a change of your basic style or your baseline style, we're gonna use this as its own effect, as a temporary boost. So we're combining kind of several features together with the special abilities controls to give you this kind of unique way to build a kind of a story into your Saber. So I'm going to kind of build out roughly what I built in the demo video, but there's so many options. It's really up to you and your imagination what you want to do with your particular blade style. So we're going to start in the blade builder. We're going after a multi-phase blade. So we're going to go in, and what I'm going to do first off is for this capability that I want to demo, we want it to be set to special abilities. So that's going to use the alt font, which is the sound change in combination with the visual effects change. And I'm going to kind of jump through what I already set up, but I'll demo some of it. But I'm going to set up my colors ahead of time. So I think I had a gold starting base blade. It's going to keep telling me I need to set special ability, so let me do that. So we're going to come back to this, but if you get that pop-up, just come and set one of your special abilities at least to a phase. We're not going to use this yet, but I want to get that pop-up out of the way because special abilities are tied directly to the special ability multi-phase is tied directly to special ability control. That's what that pop-up is saying, is you don't have the control in place that you need to use this style. All right, so where were we? So we set base color to the gold. I'm going to set a ice blue for my second. I'm going to leave red. And then let's set a silver for my alt color 3. And this, you'll see where this comes into play in a minute. So I'm going to just leave my hyper responsive rotoscope as my base style, and that's in gold, which is what you see running here. I want to set, I'm going to basically make a water blade. And this is just kind of a simple setup. You can tweak this out and do a lot more with it, but I'm going to find kind of a medium power wave, which will look pretty good. And we'll take a look at them in a second. I'm just getting ahead of myself to get these. It's already set to be in blue for alt color. That's here. I'm going to add another one. So I'm going to add a fire blade, and I want a fast fire. So we'll do fast fire. And that's using alt color 2, but I'm going to want a gradient on that. And I'm going to add a gradient wave. Now with gradient, it lets you, and we'll take a peek at it in a minute. So when you set up a multi-phase, it's always going to show you this until we do the actual phase change. So I'm kind of cheating just to make this video not take forever. But you would want to preview all what you're setting up. And then the last one we're going to do is a wind or a tornado blade. So I'm going to do a ripple, a high-speed power ripple. And that's going to be in silver. And then what I want to do for this one is I actually want to set this one to mirror out. And you'll see what that looks like in a minute. So this here is a color modifier, and this here that I did mirror out, this is a style modifier. And I have to do videos on these because I don't know if people actually realize all of these are in there, but you can do a ton of customization on this because of those abilities. But so that being said, I've kind of built out, this is roughly what I built out in the style, and you would go through and tweak this to however you want. But let's go take a quick peek at the special abilities tied to this. So as I said, we kind of changed to next phase. You could leave that if you wanted, but special abilities 1 through 4 have 2 new options right now, and there's more coming. So these are the phase boosts. So there's a phase boost, just a regular effect timed, and there's a select boost, phase boost effect number. What this phase boost effect, we'll set this one up, does, and I'll explain all this in a second, is this just lets me move sequentially through all the phases. So every time I do special ability 1, it's going to advance to whatever the next phase is. But the thing with phase boost effect is this one is a timed effect. They're meant to be limited. So when the previous versions, phase 1 and 2, we had multi-phase with the all font. But when you change it, it's just a change of your base style, and then it stays there until you change it again. These are taking that ability, but we're moving it into be its own effect, its own boost. So we used to have the force boost, which was pretty limited in what we could do, and you obviously only had one. And it really didn't do sounds. It was just you could apply like a enhancement to your blade temporarily, and then it would wear off. But it was, while the visual effect was updated, the sounds didn't usually line up, particularly like hum and swing, obviously. But now by using alt font, we can change all of the sounds to go with this boost effect. And that's what you saw in the video, and that's what will come into play here. The other piece of it is we can set up unique transitions on these. So these can have very different look and feel to them, almost like that kind of like the characters in those fighting video games or in certain anime type video games where you have every character has their own special ability, their own unique features. Even though you do the same control on your control pad, the character is going to be something different every time you change. That's the idea with special abilities and presets, is you have the same special ability controls, but every preset be completely unique experience, completely unique abilities. So that said, let's build out what we have here. So the phase boost effect timed is what we're going after. This is a new feature. And what's going to happen is every time I do, let's add a transition. So what this is the introductory animation. I'll do a power flash, and you can choose your color. I'm going to leave it here. Let's do it. We'll leave all this kind of set for now, but you can tweak everything. The time is how long the timed effect lasts, so it'll last for about 10 seconds. And then what I'm going to do in my video is I set the second, third, and fourth special ability to be specific phase boosts. So on this one, you're going to pick. So this one's going to do, so the special ability 2 will go automatically to phase 1. Let's give this its own, let's see, we'll do a burst and ripple up. And we'll leave it as force color. And then we'll just set another special ability And this one will set phase 2. So when I do special ability 3, it'll automatically go to phase 2. And we can set this one. You can have unique times for how long they last. So if you do special ability 2, you want it to run longer or shorter, you change the time. Again, the phase transition, the color. For this one, we're going to do, I think we did probably a ripple down. Let's try a ripple down strike, which is going to come from the tip of the blade. And we're going to do this one in alt color 2, which is red. And we're going to peek at all this. I'm jumping through the options, and you can change all your timings and everything. And then special ability 4, we're going to change to phase 3, which was our wind blade. And for this one, I want that transition to be a center out. So let's do a center out. Center out from the center. We'll do it from here. And then we'll make this one use alt color. So it's a blue effect. And again, you would tweak the timings, tweak how long it takes for the transition to fade out, etc. And then again, the time here is how long the boost lasts. So for all of them, it's going to be 10 seconds, but you could set it so that each special ability has different durations of how long the effect will last. So now we should be set up. So if I do special ability 1, it's going to do a power flash as its transition. And then for 10 seconds, it's going to hold the next phase. And what that means is I can jump through them. So we'll do the first one, so that power flash, and then we're in the water blade. And if I do special ability 1 again, it's going to flash again, but it's going to be the fire blade. This is where that gradient that we built in comes into play. So you can see it's set to be red, but there's a gradient which gives it this flame look. And it's actually a gradient wave. And again, it reverts to the base after the time. So phase 1 only lasts for 10 seconds. So you can set up your phases to run at different time lengths. But now if I do it 3 times, so first time water, second time fire, third time will be the wind version. And this is where that mirror out mirror out mod comes in. So what we set up here, right? So we set up our fire blade for number 2, but we added a gradient wave color modifier. That's what took the red, and the gradient is how much that shifted. So by doing a small shift, it went from red to like a yellow. And then for the wind, we took a power ripple high, but we mirror it out, and that's what creates that vortex looking effect. And we can peek at those real quick now because we set our other special ability. So special ability 3 is set up to trigger this fire blade. And you saw the red transition because I set up a different transition for special ability 3 than special ability 1. Special ability 1 was going to do the just a power flash. Special ability 3, though, had the red strike down effect. Special ability 2 now will jump automatically to this the power wave, which is our water. And it has a different animation on the transition. And again, it's timed, so you could have different times for each of these. And then it'll revert itself back. And don't forget, these are using alt fonts, so the sound effects are going to also change for that temporary period of time while we run that boost. And then obviously the wind. So the wind, when we set up a blue center out transition, so when I do special ability 4, it's going to have a blue center out transition, and then it's going to be that wind blade we built, which, like I said, is a power ripple high in silver, but then we set it to be mirror out. So instead of it just running from the hilt up, which is what the ripple does, it's actually going to be center, and it's going to move out like a tornado. So this is special ability 4. There's that blue wipe, and then it goes to silver. And then again, a temporary effect. Now, again, there's so many options in what you can do here. So you can choose from any of the phase styles. You can do any of the color modifiers you want. You can pick your colors. You can pick all that. And then you can also, obviously, you can do your mirror out. You can do mirror in. We can invert them, set them up. But you're building these, instead of these being just a standalone phase, you're actually building these phases to be effects of their own. And those effects will carry their own unique sound. So in my demo, I had it so that the hum and the swings change, but you could have any number of sounds change using alt font to mimic these new boosts that you're doing. So you can give yourself all these power boosts. And again, I chose the Elements version because I have good sound effects to show with them. But this could be anything you wanted to do. So, you know, if you think about any video game you've ever played or any anime character or anything, if you want to have some kind of a temporary boost to your blade where it does something visual and sound effect, you can set them up now. You build it out in the multi-phase builder, But then you set your controls as a special ability, and you can call on them anytime you want. And then again, because we have this ability to also set these with unique times, you could make it so you could call the same phase, but have it last for different durations. Or again, have the transition be different, have the color of that transition be different. So we did a power flash in white whenever I use special ability 1. We did a ripple up burst in white. That's swing force color. So you come up here, swing forces in white. Anytime I do special ability 2, I had a ripple down strike, but in red. Anytime I do special ability 3, and then I had a ripple center out from the center for special ability 4, and that's using all colors. So that's the blue. So you'll see again, if I do special ability 1, I'm going to get this white the white. What do we do? Power flash. And then it goes into the next one, and this will keep advancing, and I'll let this one time itself out. And this just gives you so much more control, customization, just so you can tell your own stories in your presets. Special ability 2 is going to be that ripple up burst, but it's also in white, but it's going to only ever trigger my water blade, which is phase 1 that we built. But that was a different animation, and you can change how long it takes the animation to run. You can change how long it holds, so how long until it fades itself back into the base. And then again, this is timed out, so this effect will time out after 10 seconds. Special ability 3 is going to do our red strike down, and then again, it'll always call the fire blade. So there's that red strike down, and then it goes into the fire. And again, that fire is set up with a gradient, so it's a red color, but we applied a gradient wave. So that gradient wave is going to move between red and a yellow-orange temporarily. And then special ability 4, we set it up so it has a ripple from the center in blue, and then it's going to use my water blade all the time. Or my wind, I'm sorry. This is the tornado blade I built. And that's using the mirror out effect on a high-speed power ripple. So that's how you kind of get this. So you can take, with the color modifiers and the style modifiers and transition capabilities and all the color options, you could really build totally unique things as new effects that you run. And again, they're going to carry all the sounds you want in the alt font. So you can have it so that you're not just getting this cool new visual effect. You have a sound that's tied to it so that it really just brings that realism home. The old force boost effects, which were kind of the start point of these, we could do a force effect, but it didn't change the hum. It didn't change the swings. It didn't have, its own sounds. It was kind of, we just played this force effect, and then we did this little change in an animation, a single change that lasted a time. Now you can build all these different phases that have all these unique sounds to them that act how you want. You can give them their own transitions. You can give them their own durations, and you can have, technically you could build up to 10 of them. We only have 4 special abilities that are currently able to do phase boost effect. We don't want to do this while we're off because you don't know what's happening on the blade. So phase special ability 1 through 4 will let you set them. But if you had more than 4 and you wanted to jump through them all, that's what this version, the phase boost effect, every time you click it, it just goes to the next phase. So you could jump through them. Whereas the select phase boost effect is a specific number that every time you trigger it, it's going to go. So this one's always going to go to 1. This one's always going to go to 2. This one's always going to go to 3. But those are the current options. I actually have several more phase boost special abilities coming. I just have to finish testing them out and getting them cleaned up. But there'll be even more coming. But the concept here is just letting you really build whatever you want from your imagination into these blade styles, and then have the sound effects to go with them all on your preset. And then every preset be totally different. So you could have presets that don't have any of these, presets that have 1, presets that have 2, presets that have 10. You can change up the special ability controls. It's really just the customization, the flexibility. It's virtually unlimited. The library is still catching up to what's actually possible in OS 7. So I have a lot more coming, but this just released, and I wanted to demo it, let everybody know. So all my early access patrons, definitely jump in to phase 3, and you can start building all of this stuff and start playing around with all these new abilities. And because we're using the phases as effects, you have like so many options for what that can look like. And this is just a start. You choose your basic style, and then you can apply all your modifiers to them. So you can modify how the color works. You can change its direction. You can change it to be a mirror out, mirror in. And there's a lot more customization, even more coming. But this is all going to be out there in the phase 3 right now, if you log in after you've seen this video. So I've got a ton more coming. I have a lot of videos I still have to put together, but I did want to introduce this to everybody. So I hope you enjoy.